It's you.
Was poppin'. Welcome to Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And welcome to the live show. And of course, you know what we're going to say. New episode dropped today. Episode 109, I believe. Consistency is key. My phone's already going off because I said that. So go check that out. The audio experience is out. If you heard it, if you're live in the chat, say you heard it. If you're watching the replay, say you heard it, just so we know who's in the building. Moose, how are we feeling?
Man, feeling pretty good. I'm glad that you're back. You look tanner than I do.
Yeah, me? A little tan.
Got the tan vibes rolling.
Absolutely.
How was the vacay, man? Well, not the vacay. It was a work K. Is that a thing? Can we say work K?
We could say that. We could say that. It was a nice, healthy work-life balance situation. At least I made it that way.
Good.
It was good. The food sucked. I'll say that. It was room service had like hot dogs and like 2 desserts. And you know I'm a dessert person, right? So the desserts were bad. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. And you know we're big on beef patties, right?
Yeah.
I only had one good beef patty.
Yeah, the hot dogs is kind of confusing.
Yep.
Yeah, the hot dog. I don't.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's
hot dogs.
Yep. That's a different, interesting choice. That's for sure. Wow.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
What it is. But I'm good on Jamaica. Shout out to all the Jamaicans out there. Listen, I'm not dissing your grandma's food, your mom's food, your aunt's food. I just didn't have it. Okay? I didn't have it.
Yeah.
The resorts do no justice to what your culture has. So, I can't say how Jamaican food really is because the frozen beef patties tasted way better than what was at the resort. I will say that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, y'all. I have not yet been, so should anyone feel to pass over an invitation and the time is right, maybe
you were invited. You didn't want to go because you're planning your trip. Because CJ did definitely ask, "Where's Moose? Can he go?" Yes, he can. However, he has a major trip, which I'm not going to speak of. He can speak of because I don't want no smoke. I don't speak on Moose.
No, but I'm trying to get it right, man. I mean, you would think that once you get cleared, you could just be out and about traveling all around the world. But apparently, you know how it is. You always got to check some boxes and do the things. So I'm waiting. We shall see. Prayerfully soon, though, there will be no restrictions whatsoever. So we shall see.
Hey.
However.
But I did say you were planning a big trip. And that didn't allow you to go to Jamaica. So I had you covered because people were like, "Where's Moose?" I said, either here or there. And I think he wants to go there. And they're like, oh, understood. Is he coming Dominican Republic? Yes, people were going to Dominican Republic next time. And I believe with that carrot in front of you, you could possibly make that one. I just
wait. You mean the next one is in DR?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, hey, that's like I guess second home in a sense.
Yeah, I feel like you would be able to make that one. I just had a feeling. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I feel like you could possibly make that one.
No, certainly. That's like
it's a conversation.
Yeah,
that's a conversation.
Boom. Okay, cool. Let's do it.
Okay. Look,
Let's
I'm here
do
for
it.
it.
Well, I guess can we jump into it? Are we
Yes,
ready to
let's
rock?
go. Let's
Okay,
go.
sweet. Well, listen, man. Thank you for joining the Nicky and Moose live show. We are here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Please share this with a friend. I mean, seriously, Nicky is the one who typically does this, and I'm sure she's tired of saying it. So I'm trying to carry some of the responsibility and telling you, share this with a couple of friends. I can't believe we don't have at least 100 people watching with us every Tuesday. This is such good information, and not just because I'm a part of it. I mean, Nicky shares
That's
some
that's the
incredible
main
gems.
reason. That's the main
You know,
reason, people. This is the
so it's
only
like,
reason why we should have 100 because Moose
stop
is
it,
on
stop
live.
it, stop it.
Y'all know how special that is. It's not.
Yeah,
We may think it's an all the time thing. It's not.
it's not. It's only a Nicky and Moose exclusive, honestly.
Promise
But
you.
but hey, our live last week was pretty cool. We did kind of make it work.
Everybody
But
likes you live on like social media. That's why.
yeah,
I don't know why.
yeah,
Oh, because you used to be popping. You used to make that a thing. It was like a once a week situation. I mean,
yeah. I
back in
gave
the
that
day.
I gave that a run. Yeah. Yeah, I sound washed up. You said you used to be popping. Remember when you used to be mad good? That's like how you know
Not
when
in
you're
that
washed up.
way.
It's
Not.
like, no, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm only teasing. But I'm just saying, it's like, yo, you remember you used to be good? Like, remember that when you used to
No.
be?
Listen. Moose is look. Hold on, let me clear this up.
I'm only
Moose
teasing.
is been popping. I just saying on the platform over there. He used to have his own solo show, and it's very missed by people. They can come over here and get the experience of Moose. I wanted to just do a show today where it was just Moose. He was like, nah. And
Nah.
I was like, I was trying to do it for the people. I was trying to do it for
Yeah.
the people. You know what I mean?
Nah, I think our collabs are dope, man. Our collabs are dope. A couple of weeks ago, and for those of you who are just like, man, just get started with the show. I promise we'll be there in a second. But I think it was the not the last time we did the live, but the time before that we did the IG live together, and you said, hey, I think you should try dripping in some actual IG lives, and I was really considering it, but I haven't found not so much the time, but just the approach just right. And for
You have
me, it's
you
just
have to
got
find the
yeah, I
groove. I
gotta
know
I
you.
gotta I gotta find the approach. Yeah, I just want it to make sense, man. That's all. I promise. If I find it, I find a way to make it make sense for the people. I'm in all the games. So yeah, and let's not talk about those Yankees. So, anyways, but now, man, seriously though, I think this one is going to be extra special because Nikki and I were going back and forth and kind of mixing in several different ideas around what the topic should be for tonight. But ultimately, just to get straight to it, this one is about how to nurture your audience. I think if you have an online brand today, you have probably made the mistakes of trying to generate and make money, of course, through selling of however which way you do it. And what you'll soon realize is even with some of the greatest brands, you're going to catch fire, right? Because eventually we all have something if we are growing in a productive way or a consistent way. Ultimately, we're growing because the people want more of what we have to offer. And so when you make products or services available, you'll start to see some traction. People are like, oh man, let me try that out. Or actually, I would like that. I want to engage in it. It's valuable. But if it hasn't happened to you yet, uh, just know that it's okay when it does happen because we've gone through it and we've all bounced back. But you're gonna hit a wall at some point where your sales are going to decline, or what you're expecting to happen is not going to continue to happen at the rate in which it happened when you first started. And so what we're gonna discuss today is that ultimately the way to continue to progress and grow your sales is by not selling. And I know that sounds crazy. It's like, what do you mean? How am I supposed to make more money if I stop selling? Isn't that the whole point, or probably the only way to make money is by selling consistently and having things available for people to buy every day? Yes, to some extent. But you don't only want to show up, and I love Nikki's philosophy on this, you don't only want to show up when it's time to sell. And quite honestly, a lot of the mistakes, or one of the biggest mistakes that we often see, is that people will only start showing face and being nice to people when it's time to collect money from them. And so I want to talk with you about this next, just in terms of, number one, the mindset and the philosophy of how you've come to that realization, because I think you're one of the better people at most of your consistency is the consistency in serving and in being able to nurture the audience. And selling takes almost a secondary, backup plan to that. And so just talk to us a little bit about the philosophy, that mindset, and we'll build on the conversation from there.
So yes, I believe in serving the people first, right? I believe that if you serve, then you won't really struggle with money. Now, that's hard to believe when you're on that whole, I'm just beginning, I need to pay the bills, I need to pay for these platforms, whatever software that I'm using. What are you talking about, right? So what I've come to realize is that people almost feel like in debt to you if you serve more than they give, right? They're used to people selling something to them. They get ads all the time. People are trying to sell programs, merchandise, whatever products and services they have eventually to them, right? And like I've seen multiple influencers, but two main ones, of course, E.T. the hip hop preacher, Dr. Eric Thomas, and then also Gary Vee, who really go on, let's give the people everything and our value is going to go up, right? And my whole purpose was not to depend on social media to make money. Social media is a tool, right? And it can, when you have products and services, allow you to sell on a more global standpoint. But I never wanted to be that type that looks desperate for the sale. Look desperate and like, yo, I need social media to make this happen, right? The culture that I've created is more on, I'm going to give you everything you need. And if you need more guidance, here are some of the things that I have as well. I don't have to sell you on that. You're going to learn on your own. Oh, snap, I can't do this on my own, right? What else can I do? How else can I be around people of just good, positive energy who believes in just helping others, right? And it goes back to, what is the culture that you're trying to create? Are you trying to attract people for a hit it and quit it situation, like I like to call it, however you want to take that? Or are you more of a, let's keep this long term? Let's vibe out. I have abandonment issues, so I don't want people to go anywhere, right? I want them to chill with me. Shout out to the people who are watching, because normally they are the people who watch every single time we go live, right? Very loyal followers, viewers, listeners, right? And so how do I keep them coming back? How do we keep them coming back is by the consistency of serving. And so that when we do drop something, it's like, yo, of course I want to be a part of this. Of course I want to be, they don't question the value of things because you've outvalued so many other people, right? So even from with the thought process that I have with where I'm going with like the whole lion thing, right? It's more of getting people introduced to the little lion toy. For anybody who doesn't know, I got LB. Everybody say hi to LB, right? Look, LB, right? Getting people introduced that, oh, the lion represents Nicky and vice versa, right? Now Nicky's rocking this little lion logo, and that's going to start showing up a little bit more then they're going to see it on the live and everything. Like, okay, so if and when I drop it, they're like, I just want it because it represents like a movement. It represents not necessarily even learning anything. It's more of, I want what it symbolizes. I want what you stand for, because what you stand for is within this product, this service, this collectible, this merchandise, this whatever it is, right? So that's kind of my ways of doing things, and it's been pretty much successful. Now, there has been some downs as far as when I do some of, not downs, but not the same results as maybe as expected that some people had projected. And that's fine, right? Due to where the economy is, due to maybe not reading your audience in the time that you needed to, whatever it is, right? Not getting the customer journey right. These are all things we have to understand. It's not selling, it's taking them through a proper customer journey, building that trust, and then introducing them, shout out to Kurt and Aaron, to the ecosystem, right? Of where they see this new world, this new vibe that you have that is like, yo, I had no clue this was even available. I'm in, I'm stuck. Hello. Like, I want people to feel like I'm not going nowhere. That's it. I'm like, and I'm okay if that's 5 people. I'm okay if that's 10 people. I'm okay. Why? Because they know that I'm not coming in with, all right, after this, I'm going to sell you this. After this, I'm going to sell you this. After this, I'm going to sell you this. Like, there is major updates that's about to happen in a platform that I use called Mighty Networks, right? To where they're going to have what they call spaces. Of course, another platform has that, but now they're adapting to it, right? Cool. But what it's going to allow is, let's say, like single events. Like, let's say we wanted to do a private live masterclass, right? And now we could put that in there and make a whole event, put a paywall behind it, create a community behind it, and it's all could be done, right? The community that is already built within, like, deeper than the brand, whatever pops up, they're going to be there for it, because they know, yo, Nikki's not upselling me all the time. Like, this is not an environment where I constantly am getting hit over the head with upsells and offers and this and that. And no shame to those people who do. I'm just trying to create a culture that you don't have to feel like this is a whole marketing scheme. And so you lead with free, you lead with service, to the point where they feel like, I don't even need this, but I'm going to buy it. I don't even know if I need to be a part of this, but eventually in life I am, so I'm going to learn this, or I'm going to pass this down to somebody else. And so that's the vibe that I'm trying to create, is you may not even know if you needed this right at this moment, but you rock with the brand so hard that you're going to find a reason to need it right now.
Man, that was good. That's good. And I think it's so refreshing when a consumer or someone from your customer or audience starts to realize that that's what you're doing. Like, oh, you're not trying to upsell me every single time you interact with me. Mm-hmm. You're truly here to serve. And I think that's a great way for those of you who are thinking about transaction or transacting with certain brands. That's a great way to really figure out, what type of person am I going to be interacting with here? Just listening. I mean, are they saying things similar to what Nikki just said? Are they truly in it for the long haul and the long game, and willing to serve only a small amount of people, as long as the values and everything that's in alignment? that really starts to connect the dots for you. And the main adjustment that I think needs to happen, Nikki, just to really maybe accomplish what you're saying for those who are listening, I believe there's a mindset shift that has to go between, say, a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. And I don't mean that in the cliche way, maybe that you've heard about it before, but there has to be something that happens internally that allows you to believe that it's okay for me to give away stuff for free on public platforms and make it available to people without feeling as though I'm losing or I will not get more. I'm actually realizing that when you give away your best stuff, you make room for better things to enter your mind. So it's so crazy. Every time you try to hang on and you're like hoarding information in your mind, all these ideas, or call them ideas or bars or strategies or tactics or whatever they are, the more you're hanging on to all of them and you're almost information hoarding, tell me how many more new ideas you get. Probably not many, if we're being honest. The minute you get to a position where you're like, actually, man, I'm good. I'm confident in my ability, my expertise, and where I'm at in my career, that heck, I'm willing to just dish it out because I know what I give today, God replaces tomorrow. And I'm just a serving machine. I'm a vessel. I'm able to pour out and people get what they need from me and they begin to rely on me as that source for them. And it's not going to happen until you try. I wish I could tell you there's a way for it. You have to, do this so you can go from abundance or, scarcity to abundance. Like it will happen for you after this. It happens after you do it because it makes you sharpen your muscle. And what I'll tell you from experience is a lot of the stuff that you're hanging on that you think is your gold, in the beginning, it's usually not. It's probably your best discovery as of yet, but it's not your best stuff. Giving it away challenges you to become better because in your mind, you're thinking about, okay, well, what's next? And if you're hanging on to what happened before, you don't get an opportunity to think about and create what's next. So just to what Nicky's saying, I'm hoping that you start to see that there is a way for you to serve your audience, nurture them by consistently giving them things away that you probably even had the right to sell. Like that's my challenge for you. I wish you could get to a point where people are almost confused, like, wait, you're giving all this value away for like, you sure you don't want money for this? Because people would typically charge for this stuff right here. That should be a goal of yours, quite honestly, because again, you have to imagine that as much as we feel the internet is our entire world, it hasn't been around for all that long. So when you can get to a point where you're really thinking about the long haul of this, you're thinking, okay, I looked up something, I want to say, I don't know, maybe a month ago, and they were saying that the average age of a Fortune, I don't know if it was a 100 or 500 company, is like 50 plus years. Do y'all understand how long, like 50 years of building, that's a long time. That's an opportunity to really figure out what the kinks are, to improve the process, to get a great product, to have an infrastructure so deeply rooted that doesn't break at the sign of a recession or a pandemic, or it's deeply rooted. And so I think just adjusting our mentality for saying, man, what do I have to do today, at least just forward think enough, can my brand live 50 years? What would I have to do to get myself to that point so that I can still be available at that time? And sometimes it's just simply passing up on the opportunities or the pressure to feel like you have to do this right now. You have to make the money right now. You have to do this right now. It's like that alone is a big game changer, man. So again, if you want to make more money, and I swear to you, I know it sounds crazy, but you gotta let this sink with you a little bit. You have to sell less, not more. The examples that we share in the email were, of course, brands like Apple and Jordan. I mean, yes, they sell regularly, but if you think about it, they don't make their products as available as the everyday brand that is hungry for money. And as a result of it, when you look at some of their balance sheets, these guys have millions and trillions of dollars in cash, maybe not trillions, but millions of dollars sitting there in cash, just because they've worked out almost an agreement with the consumer that they know that when you make something available, I want to buy, and I want to buy in excess. So it's really a different mindset that goes into it. I guess the follow-up question I have for you is, what's the balance between saying, hey, I'm not going to have an upsell and make the audience feel as though there's a marketing setup and a whole long-winded strategy behind all of this, but at the same time being prepared, right? Because I do feel that when you don't prepare, like the great quote says, when you don't prepare, you prepare to fail. And so to think that one day you're just going to say, all right, I'm ready, and people, just because, I don't know, whatever reason, they're going to immediately buy and sell you out. I think that's also an unreasonable expectation. So what would you say is the balance between giving and not overthinking and nurturing the audience and caring for the people who are rocking for you? But when you start to prepare to say, okay, I do want to do something unique, and I'm only putting a price point almost as a guardrail because I want a select type of person to enter my ecosystem and my program. I don't want to just work with any and everybody. I want to create some level of separation here so I can work with a select group of people. How do you prepare for that? Because I feel simply putting out a video is not enough in today's, say, era or way of doing it. So any tips for that? Like the balance and the preparation of nurture versus ready to transact?
Yeah, I would have to say you prepare the people for something, right? You don't just drop it. I always say we're not Beyonce, right? We can't just drop something and, oh my God, everybody's been ready, they love us. It's not realistic, right? Outliers, understood. But it's just not realistic from a mass situation. So what you're probably going to want to do is prepare people through your content, through your lives, through your emails, through your texts, right? And coming up with a strategy as far as that of, hey, I got this coming up. Would love your input on it, as far as I'm thinking about doing, finally coming out with merch. Now, I'm thinking about either doing a quote or just doing something visual. I'm not really sure. What is your take on it? Reply to this, comment, right? And not only do they understand that something is coming up, they see that you value their opinion, right? Which takes them on this journey. Now, as you're doing that, right, it creates maybe those people who were like kind of rocking with you or maybe already out of the loop to coming back to being a warm audience at least, right? People who are semi-interested, may purchase, may not, right? At least they're curious. You got them engaging. We want to create that right before we launch something. We don't want to just put it out super cold and just hope we've done enough to create a core audience that is just going to buy outright. Now, yes, we've been serving, that's cool, but you still have to do some type of release to get them to prepare that something's coming out, prepare that they're about to spend some money. Maybe already have a thought process of what it may be as far as the price wise, but they know next steps is something with a $sign on it, right? For those people who may want to try to do this, we've spoken about this before. It's about creating boundaries. So what you may do on social media could be super free, but the second that you take them off social media, whether it's a private community, it could even be a a email course or whatever, they understand there is a price point. And this is where you educate the audience. This is where you release it to announce maybe the price if you want to. Announce when the release date is coming out. Announce what's coming with this program, event, book, merchandise, experience, whatever your products or services doing, going now more into detail to where you make it a want for them, right? Because people buy when they want something. We all have needs, but we always buy what we want, right? And this is where we want to make sure how we express what we're about to release. And it could be the smallest thing. It could be a PDF. It could be an ebook, right? I don't care what it is. You still want to narrate it to where, how is it going to save them time, save them money, make them money, create acceptance, right? Give them status, or build some type of community for them. It should have one of those things, if not multiple, right? Because these are some of the desires that we have no problem paying any type of money for, right? So if we know how to storytell, if we know how to message our stuff to where they see what we're dropping and it meets one of their desires and they clearly see it over and over and over again, they have no problem taking out their credit card, pulling up their PayPal, login, Apple Pay, Google Pay, whatever it is, and make sure they cop whatever you're dropping.
Man, that was good. What's the timeline? Like how far in advance should I begin to prepare folks, right? Because I feel, I don't know, is there a timeline that you should follow and say, okay, if I'm launching on November 1st, when should I start to prepare my audience?
I think it depends on if it's an in-person situation or online, right? Of course, in-person is going to take more time, because what if people are traveling? What if people have plans? This is now, they're going to take between 15 minutes, 5 minutes to 2, 3, 4, 5 hours to travel to you, maybe even longer, depending on your audience, right? So in person, you're going to want to give more time. Let's say 3 to 4 months, possibly, of promotion time, of getting people warmed up. It's possible. It could be even longer, depending on what you're trying to do, right? And then this would mean you would have to do different campaigns in order to keep it exciting, right? So the one that I like is creating an early bird special, right? And then every couple of, milestones, now you're raising the price to create some type of urgency. Because if you leave the price the same the whole time, you're not creating urgency in your audience, and they'll purchase it whenever they purchase it, and that'll give you anxiety, okay? Because you're like, oh my God, it's like 2 more months and only 5 people purchased. Like, oh my God, it'll create anxiety, right? So at least when you do something to that effect, you can expect at least a spike between those different price points, right? Now, if it's digital, bare minimum 4 weeks, 2 weeks if you're fancy, right? But 4 weeks will give you a good amount of time to get people warmed up, get people seeing the logo, the behind the scenes, you giving more detail about it, the story behind it, the benefits about it. And everything has benefits. And everything from a hat to a shirt, socks, an event, it doesn't matter. Everything has benefits, right? And you just have to make sure that it's clear as day, because we do not purchase off of confusion or wonder, right? We purchase off of clarity. So the more clarity we give to our audience, the better chances of conversions. So I'll say that kind of time frame.
Wow, that's amazing. Talk about giving away all your best stuff. I mean, this is like legit a full blown like rollout masterclass slash how to nurture your people. That's so legit. Yeah, because I've just been thinking through, and I think we have talked about it, or I've said it publicly, around understanding sales and marketing just so that I can figure out the right way to do it. I think what happened was I started to get a little frustrated around, I don't want to say feeling as though I'm losing my pure intentions, but you almost feel tempted, like, do I really have to be like that to make money? And it just didn't sit well with me. And finally, I got to that point to realize that the only way for me to control the narrative is to understand the intricate details of some of these things that you're explaining now, and stop putting it in the hands of somebody else who claim to be the experts of sales and marketing and all these other things. So although you are, say, a business person, or you have a brand, or you own a construction company, I don't care what it is and where you sit in it. I'm not saying take control of the sales and marketing process, but if you own the company and you really care about the people that you're serving, you should start to want to study, how are we as a company, an organization, or a brand selling, marketing, and branding ourselves to our consumer and our audience? Because if you're completely hands off from that process, you can find yourself in a pretty awkward situation where maybe you're not seeing eye to eye with your audience and your demographic, and you're wondering, wait, how did we get here? Well, the truth is you relinquished the control to someone who didn't share the same values as you did. And so they did whatever they had to do just to make money, but they killed the lifeline of your brand. And that's one of the more dangerous things to do. So that's really more of why I feel it's so necessary for us to continue to have these conversations around you, regardless of where you're at in your brand or your business. It's important for you to study, what is your method for attracting an audience, nurturing them, preparing them to take almost part in some of your other services and products or the things that you offer. And that's like a really great way to do it. It's like there's a balance between both of those things. They don't just happen magically. You don't just wake up one day with a large audience and the next day they just buy from you for hundreds and thousands of millions of dollars. There is a method to the madness after all.
No, that's a fact. And it's really not that hard. And it could sound like very intimidating, right? But it's really not that hard when you already have the hearts of your audience, right? When you know they truly trust you, stuff that you put out, they know that it's going to benefit them in some way, shape, or form, whether it's in a motivational, educational, entertainment way. They know that, okay, whatever so-and-so puts out, we're good, Now, of course, people have, financial situations, right? Whether it's just a bad time or they're low on certain things. What I do want to say is we can't account for everybody and their pockets. We still have to be very aware of the worth and the value of what we're putting out, keep that price there, and meet other people with other products and services through your customer journey, right? So they may not be ready for the $1,000 product or service, right? They may not be ready, but this is why you create something that's on a 500. This is why you create something that's on 100. This is why you possibly have a $47 situation, right? But to take your product based off maybe the reaction of 24 hours, the conversions within the first 24 hours, or maybe that first weekend, and you're like, it's not hitting the way it's supposed to. We're in a downfall. Let's lower our prices. I'll be honest. We did when deeper than the brand did I2M. Our marketing team, right, was like, I think the last couple of days they were like, okay, we're going to lower the price to bring more people. I said, absolutely not. Actually raise it. Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, what? I was like, I'm not interested in gathering more based off their price point that they could afford. People are always going to find ways to purchase what they find valuable. Mm-hmm. If I lower the price point, right, now I'm saying, you know what? I said it was this, but it's really worth this, right? And it kind of devalues what we created, right? So I'm always going to press up before I press down, right? And not feel bad about that, because 9 out of 10 times we create products and we underprice them anyways. We underprice them. That's everything we put out, we underprice, right? It has to get to a point where we have a minimum and we have what we want to charge. Not a minimum based off people's budgets or what the market put out. This is the minimum that I feel comfortable doing. This is what I really want to do, but this is the minimum, and I'll still get profits from it, right? I don't believe in going even. That's just me, right? I don't believe in going even unless it is more from a lead standpoint where it's like, I know if I put this, I'm going to get this, but I'm in the back end, I'm going to make way more. I'm cool with that, right? But when we are looking at our customer journey and we're, about to launch and we're looking at our strategies, it's more of never have in your mind, I'm going to, if I don't make this amount, I'm going to lower my price. It has to be my price. It has nothing to do with your price. It has everything to do with your messaging. It has everything to do with that you didn't properly relay that the importance of it, the value of it, the benefits of it, the transformation that they will get from it. That is the only reason why they're not purchasing. It has nothing to do with price. There's a lot of things I have purchased that I don't even know why I paid that much for. A lot of it, the stuff I do, I don't even know why I purchased it because of the price, but I feel like I needed it. I feel like I wanted it. And so for me, I will never mark down. I will always create some type of release or campaign to where it stays the same or it goes up.
Yeah, no, that's good. I was just thinking in my mind, right, literally as you were saying, I almost got sidetracked because I just like dozed off into my mind, and I was thinking about how quickly we are to change our price when we get resistance. So you may say, let's just say, for example, you're speaking to someone, you're like, hey, the price is $100. And they say to you, $100? You're like, oh, actually, no, but you know what? 75 is cool. It's like, wait. Why were you so quick? And I bet for those of you just in the business of marketing and selling your product or service, if you think about it, there's a lot of us who will quickly back down of what we said just because we get some level of resistance. And exactly as you explained, it's not always about lowering the price. It's about helping them to better see the value. So if I can help you better understand the value of why it's priced the way it is, but more importantly, how you stand to benefit from this, money at that point is just a means of exchange. It's not anything really important. So that's a great point, man. For those of you in the audience, I know we got a good amount of people with us here. Not the 100 that we're looking for, but it's cool. We'll be patient. We'll keep nurturing the audience. But man, I would love, as we continue this dialogue, if you're getting takeaways, man, just put your takeaways in the chat. Just whatever takeaways you're getting. I always find that when a lot of different people are gathered, their takeaways usually end up adding more to the conversation because you might have heard something that we didn't say, but you took it in a perspective that adds to it. So if you can, man, just so far based on what we've been sharing around this idea of nurturing your audience and preparing them, just drop some takeaways in the chat. Nicky, I want to talk to you about the frequency because I'm noticing one of the things that you're doing, which is actually super healthy. You're putting out emails to the audience right now, just in terms of, hey, check out this social media hack, or hey, do this. Now, in my mind, two things come up, right? Number one, when you see a platform like Instagram go down yesterday, there's a whole bunch of glitches, whatever it may be. It's a good reminder of the importance of being able to pull your people off of social media and onto a platform or somewhere that you have direct access to them. Right? Immediately, that's the first thing that comes to mind. But then the second thing is, of course, being able to nurture them regularly and having the confidence that they're going to see this effort of yours, and it's not just going to get swallowed up by the algorithm. Maybe they see it, maybe they don't. So just talk about the frequency of how often you're doing that. So is it, say, should we be thinking about sending something like that once we begin to build our list once a week, once a month? What's a good frequency for that?
Before we answer that one, and I got you, Darius, because we're not going to call him his lovely username, asks, how do you have price tiers without cheapening the brand or gaining an audience you do not want? I want your take on this because I went in on it, but I want your take on it.
Yeah. I'm just looking for the question again. I want to process
don't worry.
it a little bit more.
I got you.
Sorry.
Right here.
Okay. So one of the things that we've done is really add incentives for those who are willing to act quickly rather than simply just giving tiers or creating products of lower tiers that bring a different type of audience that you don't want to deal with. And by the way, it's okay to stand true to something that you want and saying, I'm priced this way because I only want to work with this type of caliber of a client. Hey, by all means, no problem. Stay true to it. Now, no, on the flip side of that, and I think we as service providers or business owners or brand creators, however you want to call it, we have to look in the mirror and really ask ourselves, do I have both the level of credibility and the expertise to stand firm on that rate? There's nothing wrong with saying I want to charge $10,000 an hour. Just on the flip side of that, let's make sure this is not just an optimistic or a hopeful wish, but we have credibility and expertise that makes us say, I don't want to say worthy, but it's what's the word? It's an honest interpretation as to why we're charging that, right? It makes sense. Now, on the flip side of that, just one of the ways that I would do it without getting into too much detail is offer an incentive for people who act quickly. So I may say, hey, this costs $1,000, but if you enroll in the next 48 hours, we'll credit you $250. So you create a slightly lower tier or a more cost-effective product, something that's more favorable for the consumer, without having to create a completely new product that is of a lesser rate or a lesser value, so that you can allow people to afford what you have to give. So that's one of the ways that we're doing it right now, actually.
Gucci, I like that. Okay, now ask your question again.
Yeah, just the frequency of nurturing. I mean, obviously on a platform like Instagram, every platform has its own, say, accepted frequency rates. Maybe there's one that's different for Instagram, Twitter, email, but I'm asking more so maybe for social like Instagram and then email, where that you have that direct contact with your audience.
Yeah, I think like a healthy amount, and of course, I always say it depends on what you can do, right? If you are a team of one, you have to be realistic. You have to run a business, the social media side, the content side, the marketing side, the product development. There's a lot of stuff from a team of one that you have to do. So you want to be realistic with, when it comes to email, how often you can send that out, right? right now I believe we're doing about like once a week or so, right? Just so, because before it was only coming out when like we were releasing the summit or something was happening, right? To now where it's like I put out enough content that you can take that and you can turn it into an email, right? So just do that once a week, and we're good, right? But I have a team for that, right? Now, once a month is okay too. It's long. The thing is, as long when it comes to your email situation, as long as you state it up front what to expect, right? Don't have them in a list and they don't ever know when it's coming up, right? Or you're only selling to them, right? You want to be very upfront when they sign up for your email list, go into a landing page, enter their email in, that maybe they get an email right after thanking them and what to expect by being on this list, right? Now, from a social media standpoint, I'm always going to say that you want to be there as regular as you can, right? You want to stay on top of mind. So that's going to require most to be there every single day, right? If you could do multiple times, cool. Now, realistically, with people, with a team of one, I'm going to say, what can you honestly be consistent on for months, right? Be realistic. If that is 4 times a week, do 4 times a week, right? If that is 3 times, do 3 times. Don't give me one for things like Facebook, Instagram. Don't give me that. YouTube, I can understand, because YouTube is like 10-minute videos.
Yeah.
If you can only do once a week, it's a start. But all these other ones, don't do that, right? It won't even put a dent in what you should have, the brand growth you should have, if you just do once a week, like once a week, once a month, once nothing. Like, don't, chill out, right? But realistically, starting with 3-4 times a week to build that momentum, whether it is to build that momentum or to get somebody to delegate to, is something that you need to be considerate of. Because even myself, as much of a social media head that I am, a content head that I am, I'm getting to the point where I have to delegate the distribution of my own stuff, right? To the point where now I have to hire an executive assistant, and that's a scary situation. So I have to start looking for that, right? But you want to, in the beginning, if you are a beginner or you're not big on consistency, come up with a consistency plan. I plan on being on this platform this many times, this platform this many times. If you do multiple platforms, I plan on emailing my list this many times. I plan on texting my people this many times a week, right? A month, whatever it is. Just stay true to what you say and people will catch on, and then improve the presence as your brand grows.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I feel definitely the frequency. People sometimes, don't want to step on. I don't know if, and I think we talked about it before, these like social media rules or laws that we sometimes make up in our heads. And so they think that, hey, if I step outside of these confines, I don't know what's the right or appropriate way. And so having just the level of understanding around the frequency is super helpful. Nick, any final tips or words that you'd add around nurturing the audience, whether they be strategic ones or just like mindset tips that you would share? Because I know this has been super jam-packed, but anything else that you would add?
I think I would have to say that you have to remember that this is a human being you're trying to connect with. And so talk to them like a human being, not like a client, customer. Like, don't put that type of title. Put the title of human and relationship. And putting their feelings and thought process first. Because when you do that, it's more on, how do I say this? They're more prone to move the way you want them to move rather than them being considerate of what you have going on and what you want to do and your agenda. It's not really about your agenda. It's about what you can do for them. And if it's nothing, they will find somebody who will find value in them. So find the value in your audience, treat them as humans, which would mean you would have to create a relationship with them. And however you treat your relationships in real life, treat that in the digital world, because they're still humans. You just don't see them in person.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Yeah, and if I had anything to say, or just anything to add to that, as crazy as it sounds, don't take things personal, especially the outcomes when they're not favorable. I feel, a lot of times when you start to see things are not heading the way that you want or planned for, you start to think, oh man, I'm doing something wrong. Oh man, I'm not good. Like I'm not going to be successful. And that's not what that means. That has nothing to do with you. It's just maybe your approach needs to change. Your strategy needs to be changed, not your personal value. So as long as those two are compartmentalized in two different areas, the value of your business or the success of your business and the value of you as a person, it'll keep you out of that emotional space that clogs your logical thinking. Sometimes when we start to take things too personal, we get too much in a headspace of it's all about me, and then you're in an emotional state. You don't really think in the best interest of your business. You're thinking in the best interest of your ego and how you can do things to protect it. So yeah, that's definitely one of those adjustments, man, that I'll say, continue to work on you. You always know, we say on Tuesdays lives, we want to talk about the person behind the personal brand. So I think this one really covered both, man, the person and the personal brand, even tapped into some business stuff. So yeah, appreciate you, Nick. This was super valuable.
Facts. And shout out to everybody who gave us some super chats, some stars, some super thanks. However, because it's like tipping the creator. So if you're watching this live, whether on YouTube, you can hit that super chat, right? If you're watching the replay, hit the super thanks. If you're watching on Facebook, stars, we accept all of that. Okay, we accept all of that. Make sure you check out the audio experience of episode 109. The video experience drops every Wednesday at 8 p.m. and the after show also drops around 8 p.m. on Apple Podcasts every single week on Wednesday. So that's it. We're good. Moose, appreciate the conversation as always. You know what we're going to say, people.
Peace, y'all.